Hey YouTube, check out my awesome vintage sweater with the Stratocaster that my wife got for me. Isn't that wonderful? Awesome. The season is upon us. So today we are going to take a look at this eBay special that I just got, which is a PRS style. It is made by a fellow who did a kit build. And so kit built guitars are like rolling the dice. I almost said literally. It's not literally, but figuratively rolling the dice. Because you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how accomplished the person is. Generally speaking, you can find some luthier built stuff out there, but there's not a huge amount of it. But kit built guitars, those kits are cheap, and so there's a absolute randomness to it when you buy one of these guitars that's been built by somebody. I have built multiple guitars myself from kits, and so I'll feature them on the channel at some point. As I'm building the channel, I've mainly been focusing on brands that tend to get more clicks and hits and stuff. Squier has been at the forefront of my early work because I've got to get the videos out there and so forth and build that base. But I don't usually seek out the kit built stuff and whatever, because I mean it's just rolling the dice and seeing what you get. But this one really caught my eye, and the reason being it had a number of features on it that I long for but can't afford. And that is, for one, it's just the general PRS styling, which I really enjoy. But this fretboard is very, very nice. It's got the birds, so it's homaging the PRS, and it is a not true abalone, but it has got the the iridescent under a transparent layer. But very nice, and I like the bright coloration of the fretboard and so forth. But and it's got this great natural body on it, very nice arch top. And another feature is that this is actually a thick true top on it. It's not just a veneer or a thin layer. This is, I mean, it's easily over an inch deep. It's arch top. So I said, this got some cool features, and I watched it on my eBay list, and the guy sent me here's some money off of it. And I said, you know what? It came with a nice Gator gig bag. And I said, I mean, I'm sure he did not make a single dollar on this guitar. He probably lost money because it was the price pretty much of buying a kit, but unbuilt. And so I get the sense he was just doing it for enjoyment. In conversation, in comments, he said that it was his summer project. And so very, very, overall well done. I love the look and aesthetic. It drew my eye, and I don't often look at kit built because it can be super amateur hour, but this kit built checked a lot of boxes for me aesthetically and the way that it's pointed and so forth, and at the same time was very inexpensive, like a fraction of the cost of even a PRS SE hollow body like this. So it was a budget. I wasn't throwing a lot of money at it to be able to pick it up, and because I do build myself and I do all the modding and everything, that I knew wherever the roughness was in terms of construction, I should be able to correct it and improve upon it. But it seemed like a really, really great start to a build, and I was like, I for that price, I will pick that up and carry that torch forward and continue to work on this. So we are going to look at an MRP PRS style hollow body arch top with two P95s. Very nice natural body, very light, very resonant, and The great thing about this guitar is I've been looking at it for the last couple days and really getting my fingers on it and so forth. And so in this video, I will be looking at this guitar, but also talking about, the processes that go into kit builds and their pros and cons and stuff to look for if you buy someone else's kit build, or challenges that if you are looking to get a kit, what you can expect to do in that process. So stay tuned. We're going to look at this particular guitar, but we're also going to talk about kit built guitars. So let's just step back a little and talk about kit-built guitars and what we're even talking about here. A kit-built guitar is where you, as a guitarist or an aspiring guitar tech, you decide you want to build your own guitar, but you don't want to start from raw materials. You don't want to just start with a plank of wood. You want the major machining to be done for you, but you can do all the rest. And that's what we mean by kit build, is you buy a kit. And generally speaking, and there's different layers because you can get just a body, you can get, different components, but a full kit is going to give you in the kit everything you need start to finish other than whatever finishing you're going to do in terms of stain or paint or whatnot, that sort of thing. But all of the actual equipment and materials of the guitar would be included just in their unfinished form. And again, there's various layers, but often what you find with kits is where the fretboard and frets have already been done, as in the neck has been mated and that sort of thing. Generally speaking, initial holes have been drilled, but there's, again, various layers. And so, each kit is going to be a little bit different in terms of what exactly it's giving to you and the level that it's been done. There are even kits out there where they've also already been finished if you don't want to do painting. So there is a whole world of kit building guitars, and because of the amount of labor that goes into finishing on a guitar in terms of actually mounting everything and getting it all settled in and finished and all of that is a lot of labor. So that is basically what you are cutting out of the cost. And as a result, if you are interested in going down this road, kit built guitars can be a really cool way to develop your skills and make something that is different and like has your fingerprints on it, that you can make it just the way you want it. And in the process, you learn so much about guitars. Even if, I will not recommend trying to do kit built guitars for profit. And that is to say that you starting up and building your first guitars, you are not going to be able to compete with the factory built guitars. You simply aren't. And you don't have at that point a name to be making money on that. So do not, in my opinion, get into kit building and think, I'm going to start a line of guitars. Get into kit building as a hobby exercise, as a way to expand your skills in guitaring, because you get much more familiar with the ins and outs of a guitar and how everything goes together. You learn so much. So it's a learning process, and at the end of the process, you have a guitar. You have something that you can add to your collection. You could, give to somebody, or you can sell, as this fellow did. Now, I really don't think he made any money, and considering shipping and eBay charges, he probably lost money on this guitar. But, he passed it forward. He got the initial stages of the build done. And as I told him in the message I sent to him, I think he did a really, really great job for the level that he put into it. There's always more you can put into it, and so part of getting a kit build is like, where along the stage of building and modding is this particular guitar? And so with this one, the finish was done, and I mean everything is all put together. It's all playable out of the box. But the next stages for me are to go through and really check the accuracy and do some various things. Like I noticed that the nut is not in there perfectly, and there's one of the strings in particular, the D string, needs to be cut a little deeper, and so there's already, I mean, there's things for me to do on this. The finish I really like a lot, but it needs more clear coat. Just because I want to preserve it. And right now, it looks very, very nice. I think it has a really elegant look that goes with the F holes. It gives it that classic violin. It's a bit of a burst. He did a really, really great job. And I just want to carry forward that and make sure that it is good and protected long term. And so I'm going to do more finishing work in terms of buffing down and then clear coating the body in particular. Another aspect that just shows, I believe this fellow probably built it, and I don't know, like he probably played it just to make sure that it worked, but I don't think he put any real play into it, and that is because when the fretboard was either he clear coated it or the factory clear coated it, a thin layer went on the frets themselves. And so if you try to do a bend right now, it's scraping away a layer of that urethane, that clear urethane that has gotten over the frets. And so the frets need to be polished down. And in this case, the fret work, he did a good job of rounding, but not finishing, just in the sense that there's a lot of gouges from the crowning, from the rounding of the ends. So the ends are nice and round, but just need that extra stage of polishing. The filing was well done. He did a very good job of rounding, but it just needs finishing. If you feel on it, they're rough. They're not sharp, they're just rough, and that's from the level of, the grit that was used on the crowning file. And so, but I mean, I really like. I've always liked the look of the PRS hollow bodies, and I'd love to get one, but they're just, at this point in my development, I could get multiple lower end guitars to look at and so forth for the price of one of those. And right now I'm trying to form the channel primarily around the lower end of the market for entry beginner folks, and particularly like folks that want to know, like, is this guitar good to upgrade, right, to level it up, to continue working on it. And so a kit build is a great opportunity to step into that process from, the long process between raw materials and final guitar, and how far along is this process. Now, another thing that you'll get with kit builds is that with a kit build, you're not in a factory where if something is, misdone, where you can just grab another one and chuck it. And so there was a spot where it was misdrilled for this pole here for the bridge, and it was filled in, and looks like a good job of filling it in, and there's no instability in the bridge, so just fine. And there's a little bit of roughness around some of the tuners where there was some flaking, where the tuners were drilled out, and the truss adjustment cover right there is a little bit askew. And so with just a little bit of work, though, I will probably go ahead and take the strings off this so I can get deeper into it, especially because the frets really need a full polish to get that clear coat off of them. And that will vastly improve the playability. But I can do some work on the head and a little bit of finishing and so forth around that while I have the strings off. Just minor adjustments, nothing that, unless you get up close, you're not going to notice the issues there. The thing that really draws your eye on this guitar is this very nice body. Another issue that I'm going to, as I take it apart and work on it further, is you see that it has embedded electronics, which is good, but the embedding is very simple. It's been drilled down and it's rather flat, and all of that can use some more work. I'd like to raise the electronics a little bit and then contour the edge around them so that it's just a little more refined. But again, this is like just that extra stages of finishing work. So the plan on this guy initially is to do some more body work, buffing, and you know, very very high final polish sanding on it, and then do clear coat and get the strings off, get the clear coat off of the frets on the neck, and just start to, you know, address these little issues and improve upon the finish to make sure that it lasts, to make sure that it's nice and durable, and you know, just a little this and that. But I think it's a really cool guitar, and you know, I think, you know, definitely props to the fellow Michael, the fellow that built it, because he did a very good job on it, and I'm, you know, overall very impressed. I'm just ready to carry on that torch and make it even better. So this is on my Mustang modeler on the bassman setting, and right now I'm on the bridge to get that extra twang. Now if we put some drive on it. So if you are looking also at the idea of building your own kit guitar, what should you expect? And there are, you know, all sorts of different options and levels and offerings and everything out there. But generally speaking, what you have with a kit built guitar is kind of a blank canvas. And that is that, you know, you could, in learning modding, there are two basic ways to do it. One is to buy a guitar, then mod it, like buy a cheap guitar. You don't mind if it, you know, gets messed up in the process, and then you just cut your teeth on it. You go to town and change this, change that, do this, do that, and so forth. Now, this is a kit built that I made a while back, and it was my second kit built guitar. And so what I mean in terms of like blank canvas is that rather than having to take something out and put something back, when you are building a guitar, you can change everything before you install it. And so, you know, this was not a super expensive kit. I think I paid between $100 and $200, or somewhere around 150 bucks. But immediately the things that I got a set of Fender. I got the Tex-Mex Fenders to put in there. I got improved electronics and so forth. It came with a pre-wired, you know, if I was just wanting to put it together and not fiddle with all that, it came with a loaded pre-wired pick guard. But it came with a black on, everything was black on black with the original kit, and I got this like amber pearloid, and the back plate is this, you know, the amber pearloid, they match, and I think that makes the black accents pop better with the black tuners. I got better tuners. I got Wilkinson tuners. So a lot of the, you know, I got Wilkinson bridge and stuff. So there was a lot of various pieces of it that I could install rather than what came with the kit, and you end up with a better guitar as a result. And that way, all the cost-cutting measures on things like the pickups, you are stepping around, right? I put better electronics. I wired everything myself. So in terms of, you know, what is left from the kit, basically the body, the neck, and the input jack. maybe the buttons. I think that's about it. The tremolo, no, that's all Wilkinson too. So, you know, mostly I just went down to the neck and the body. And everything else I did my own way. And with this one, this is a spalted top. And it's somewhat unusual. You don't see a whole lot of spalted stuff out there. Spalted is a weird kind of, it's not a type of wood, it is what you do to the wood, and that is you basically let it rot just the right amount, and then you kill the rot and, you know, flatten it and so forth. And so this has a spalted maple top, just a thin veneer. It's just very thin, but it is actual spalted, and then it's got a mahogany body and a matching mahogany neck, which is a little unusual for the Fender style stuff. But this wood was gorgeous. It was a really, really beautiful wood. And with the spalted, it has, you know, these really nice accents and so forth. And so I wanted to really make the beauty of the wood stand out. And so that's why I went with all the clear coating everywhere. And I hand brushed it. The difference being, you know, factory coats are generally going to be heavy spray on and then cooked in a cook room, you know, where they're going to basically bake it to make sure it hardens real good, it's not tacky, before they move on to finishing, right? And with a hand, I did all of this by hand with a brush, and the reason being, you do much lighter coats and you really let it soak into the wood. And so as a result, and then you buff it, you sand it, and so each time, each layer you put on, you go to a higher grit sand, and you buff, sand, repaint, buffs, and you keep doing that. And what you get is, you know, and I also contoured the body more. It had a perfectly good cut coming out of the box, but particularly right here, I contoured it more, and right here. So all of the spots where it rubs up against your body right here. Now, of course, I didn't touch that beautiful top, but all the rest of this I contoured more so it has a softer edge. And so these are the kind of things that if you want to build your own guitar, the cool thing is it's easier to start with an unfinished guitar, do all the various stuff you want to do to it, then finish it, rather than having to take a finish down and then refinish. This is just easier. So if you really want to get into like every aspect of modding, then a kit build is awesome. It's a great way to get into it. And what you have, I mean, this is a really, really nice playing instrument. The only reason I haven't even talked about it or featured it is because, generally speaking, I've been trying to, at least at the beginning, get the channel going by doing known brands and stuff. Squire in particular, you know, a lot of folks are looking at that, and the Fender, and so that's what I've stepped into. But I loved doing this. It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. I learned a lot about guitar manufacturing, the process, and it gave me, by doing these builds, it gives me a better eye, so when I'm evaluating a guitar, I know exactly where the sticky points are in manufacturing and so forth. And so it really improved me on a number of levels. So if you're considering building your own kit, I also think that is a great option. But if the other option, what we were kind of looking at here with that hollow PRS style, is somebody who's already done the first stages, it's all built, but then you can carry on. And so that's also a really great option. And like in this case, I got that one for really the price of a kit. But I know he put a lot of time and effort into it, and I thank him very much for forwarding that to me and letting me have it at such a good price, and passing that forward. And now I will continue on and continue working on it and make it even better. So I'm really pleased with this purchase. I think this is a really nice addition to my collection. Are there things that I'm going to do to it? Absolutely. But really it's an enjoyable playing guitar with a lot of potential. What do y'all think about this? And what do you think about kit build guitars? Have you made any kit builds? And what was your experience with them? Have you ever bought one that somebody else built? And so forth. And stay tuned going forward. I'm going to do more videos with this as I put time into doing the various things that I indicated. that I plan to do, and if I run into anything else along the way. And what do you guys think about, should I keep the pickups? It's got the humbucker sized, you know, P90s, also known as P95. Should I replace them? Should I keep them? I mean, they sound good, but I'm always looking, particularly with, you know, guitars that are not like standard builds, to mod and upgrade and that sort of thing. So what do you guys think? What do you think I should do? Should I keep these? Should I change them? You know, what do you think about the guitar? And thank you all for watching. As always, please like and subscribe. Building the channel. Love hearing from you guys, and you have a wonderful day.